Commander June stood at the viewport of the Imperial scout ship, his eyes fixed on the blue-green planet growing larger as they approached. The third planet in this unremarkable solar system had caught the attention of their sensors, showing signs of primitive technology and radio signals. "What do we have, Officer Park?" he asked, turning to his science officer. Park's slender fingers moved across her console with practiced precision. "Life signs are abundant, Commander. The dominant species appears to be bipedal mammals. They call themselves humans and their planet Earth." June nodded. The Zilarian Empire had encountered thousands of primitive species during its 10,000 years of expansion. Most would eventually be incorporated into the Empire, serving the greater galactic order. Some peacefully, others less so. "Standard first contact protocols then," June said. "We'll observe for a standard cycle before reporting back." "Sir," Park hesitated. "There's something unusual about this world." June raised an eyebrow. Park wasn't one for exaggeration. "These humans, they're advancing at an unprecedented rate. Look at these historical records we've intercepted." The main screen displayed a timeline of human technological development. June's eyes widened as he processed what he was seeing. "This can't be right," he said. "They went from primitive flight to rudimentary space exploration in less than a century?" "Correct, sir, and they're accelerating." June frowned. "What's driving this advancement?" "That's the concerning part," Park said, bringing up images that made June's blood run cold. "Weapons, war machines, explosions, devastation. They're constantly at war with each other," Park explained. "But unlike other species we've encountered, conflict doesn't slow their advancement, it accelerates it." The tactical officer, Lieutenant Han, joined them at the viewport. "Commander, I've been analyzing their weapons development. They've split the atom, developed biological weapons, created autonomous killing machines, all while still using primitive combustion engines for transportation." June felt a chill run through his body. "They prioritize weapons over quality of life." "Not exactly," Park said. "Look at this." The screen shifted to show human cities, hospitals, entertainment. They develop everything simultaneously. Their medical technology is advancing just as quickly. Their information systems are primitive, but evolving at exponential rates. June watched footage of humans going about their lives, fighting wars, in one part of the planet while creating art and music in another. "I've never seen anything like it," Han admitted. "Most species have a linear development path. These humans are advancing in all directions at once." "Is there any species in our records with similar patterns?" June asked. Park and Han exchanged uncomfortable glances. "Only one, sir," Park said quietly. "The sundered ones." The bridge fell, silent. Every Imperial officer knew the stories, the only species that had ever truly challenged the Empire, nearly bringing it to its knees before finally being eradicated 5,000 years ago. "That's not possible," June whispered. "There's more, sir," Park continued. "They form strong emotional bonds not just with their own kind but with other species on their planet. They keep lesser creatures as companions, form symbiotic relationships with them." Han brought up more images. "And their entertainment, sir, their stories. They consistently imagine scenarios where they defeat superior forces. Their heroes are often rebels fighting against powerful empires." June watched a human entertainment program showing small fighters taking down a massive space station. "They haven't even achieved proper spaceflight, yet they dream of Star Wars," he said. "Sir," Park said, her voice serious, "standard protocol would classify them as a level 3 pre-contact civilization. But given these anomalies..." June made his decision. "Prepare a priority transmission to Imperial Command. Classification: potential threat assessment. We're not dealing with a standard primitive species." As the crew rushed to follow his orders, June continued to watch the humans on the screen. A small child was comforting a wounded animal, showing remarkable gentleness. In the next image, human, soldiers fought with savage determination. "What are you?" he whispered to the screen. "How can you be so contradictory? So violent yet so compassionate, so primitive yet so innovative?" 3 days later, an Imperial cruiser arrived in response to June's report. The Imperial Council had never responded so quickly to a scout report before. As High Commander Q boarded the scout ship, his expression was grim. "Show me everything," he ordered. June knew then that the discovery of humans would change the Empire forever. The Grand Council chamber of the Zalarian Empire hummed with nervous energy. 12 senior counselors sat around the massive obsidian table, their faces illuminated by the holographic display of Earth rotating slowly above them. "This meeting of the Imperial High Council will now begin," announced Emperor Li, his voice carrying effortlessly across the chamber. "We gather to assess the species designation human from planet Earth." The Emperor's ceremonial robes shimmered as he gestured to Admiral Minho. "Admiral, present your findings." Admiral Minho stood, his military uniform adorned with medals from 100 campaigns. "My Emperor, honored counselors, I have reviewed the scout reports from Commander June. The humans present unusual characteristics that warrant careful consideration." He waved his hand, and the hologram shifted to show human warfare throughout history. Their military evolution is unlike anything we've encountered. They advanced from primitive projectile weapons to nuclear capabilities in less than 300 years. For comparison, the Zentari took 800 years for similar advancement, and we considered them unusually quick. Science Minister Day spoke up. "Admiral, surely you're not suggesting that a pre-FTL civilization poses a threat to the Empire?" "Not today," Minho replied, "but their rate of advancement suggests they could become a significant regional power within a century." Elder Counselor Tay, the oldest member present at over 400 years old, leaned forward. "There's something familiar about these humans. I've seen this pattern before." The chamber quieted. When the eldest spoke, all listened. "Show me their response to threats," Tay requested. The hologram changed to display various human conflicts. Tay watched intently, his wrinkled face growing more concerned with each image. "Just as I feared," he whispered. "They're like the Sundered Ones." A ripple of unease passed through the chamber. The Sundered Ones were rarely mentioned in Imperial discourse, the species that had nearly toppled the Empire millennia ago, before being completely eradicated. "Impossible," said Minister Day. "The Sundered Ones were telepathic apex predators. These humans are fragile omnivores with no special abilities." "It's not their physical form that concerns me," Tay replied. "It's their behavior patterns. Observe how they respond when threatened." The hologram showed scenes from human history, enemies becoming allies when facing a common threat. Director Hyun, head of xenopsychology, nodded slowly. "The Elder is right. Most species we encounter either submit to superior force or fight until destruction. Humans do neither. They adapt, unify, and innovate specifically to counter the threat." "And not just that," added Science Officer Park, who had been brought from Commander June's vessel. "They form emotional bonds with anything. Other species, artificial constructs, even conceptual ideas like freedom or justice. These bonds strengthen under pressure." Admiral Minho pointed to a new set of images. Their popular entertainment consistently features themes of resisting superior forces. They romanticize rebellion and fantasize about overthrowing technologically advanced invaders. The Emperor's face remained impassive, but his voice carried concern. "What options do we have?" Diplomatic Envoy Sun stepped forward. "Standard protocol would be peaceful contact and incorporation into the Empire as a protectorate species, with the option for military subjugation if they resist," added Admiral Minho. Elder Tay shook his head. "The standard approach may backfire with humans. If they perceive us as conquerors, they will likely resist more fiercely than expected." "What do you suggest?" asked the Emperor. "Careful study before making contact," Tay replied. "We should understand them better before revealing ourselves." Admiral Minho disagreed. "Delaying gives them more time to advance. Better to incorporate them now, while our technological advantage is overwhelming." The council debated for hours, reviewing more data on human psychology, warfare, culture, and technology. Finally, Emperor Li raised his hand for silence. We will proceed with modified first contact protocols, he declared. Ambassador Wu will lead a diplomatic mission to Earth. The cruiser Eternal Dominion will support the mission, but remain hidden in the shadow of their moon. He turned to Admiral Minho. Prepare a military contingency plan, but it will only be implemented if absolutely necessary. As the council session ended, Elder Tay approached the Emperor privately. My Emperor, I must express my deep concern. These humans remind me too much of the Sundered Ones. Their unpredictability makes them dangerous. The Emperor studied the hologram of Earth, still rotating above the council table. Do you believe we should eliminate them preemptively? He asked quietly. Tay hesitated. I do not know. But I fear that whatever action we take with humans, we should be prepared for unexpected consequences. As they left the chamber, neither noticed Science Officer Park remaining behind, studying human art and music with growing fascination. She played a human symphony through her personal device, moved by its beauty and complexity. For the first time in her imperial career, she wondered if some species might be better left to develop on their own path. Ambassador Wu adjusted his ceremonial collar as the imperial diplomatic vessel, Peaceful Discourse, entered Earth's orbit. After weeks of careful observation, the time had come for humanity's first official contact with an alien civilization. Ambassador, we've been detected, reported Communications Officer Kim. Earth defense systems are tracking us. Their global communications networks are erupting with activity. Wu nodded calmly. As expected, begin broadcasting the greeting. Message on all their major communication frequencies. On Earth, chaos reigned. The massive alien ship had appeared suddenly, positioning itself in geosynchronous orbit over the Pacific Ocean. Military forces worldwide went on high alert. Religious groups proclaimed the end times. Stock markets crashed. Yet amid the panic, a strange thing happened. Longtime enemy nations began communicating, sharing information, coordinating responses. In an emergency United Nations session, representatives from 195 countries gathered to form humanity's first unified response team. The aliens are broadcasting a message, announced the Secretary General. Our linguists are working to decode it. Dr. Rivera, Earth's leading xenolinguist, stepped forward. Their language structure is unlike anything on Earth, but their mathematical patterns are recognizable. We've established basic translation parameters. How long until we can communicate? Asked General Torres. A week, maybe more, Dr. Rivera estimated. Yet 3 days later, to everyone's surprise, Dr. Rivera's team had cracked the basics of the alien language. They use a logical structure that's remarkably consistent, she explained. Once we identified the pattern, translation became simpler than expected. Aboard the Peaceful Discourse, Officer Kim stared at her console in disbelief. Ambassador, the humans have already responded to our message. In our language. Ambassador Wu couldn't hide his surprise. That's impossible. Our linguists estimated it would take them at least 2 standard weeks to establish basic communication. They're requesting a face-to-face meeting, Kim continued. They've proposed a neutral location in orbit, an international space station they maintain. Wu consulted with his advisors before responding. This is unprecedented. No species has ever decoded Imperial communication this quickly. Security Officer Jin looked concerned. It could be dangerous to meet on their territory. We need to establish dominance early, Wu decided. Inform them we will receive their representatives aboard our vessel instead. To the Imperial delegations, surprised the humans agreed, but with conditions. Their delegation would include military personnel, and they would bring their own atmospheric equipment. When the human shuttle docked with the Imperial vessel, Ambassador Wu and his team waited in the grand reception hall. The chamber had been specifically designed to overwhelm primitive species. Soaring ceilings, advanced technology displayed prominently, gravity adjusted to make the humans feel slightly heavier than normal. The human delegation entered, led by Dr. Rivera and General Torres. Wu noticed immediately that while the humans looked around with interest, they showed none of the awe or intimidation he had expected. Welcome aboard the Imperial diplomatic vessel. Wu began in flawless English. I am Ambassador Wu of the Solarian Empire, which spans 12,000 star systems and rules over 36,000 worlds. General Torres merely nodded, his eyes constantly scanning the room and noting exit points. Dr. Rivera spoke directly. Thank you for initiating contact. We have many questions about your civilization and your intentions toward Earth. Wu smiled benevolently. The Empire brings order, technology, and protection to all species under our guidance. We have much to offer humanity. And what do you expect in return? Asked Torres bluntly. Wu blinked at the directness. Merely allegiance to imperial law and modest resource contributions. All standard procedures for new protectorate worlds. Instead of gratitude, the humans exchanged glances. We're interested in cultural and technological exchange, Dr. Rivera said. But Earth maintains its independence. Of course, Wu replied smoothly, though inwardly troubled by their presumption. Independence within the imperial framework is possible for advanced civilizations. Perhaps in a few centuries humanity might qualify. General Torres leaned forward. Your ship's weapon systems, energy-based, I assume? What's their effective range in our atmosphere? Officer Kim whispered to Wu. Sir, I think our translators must be malfunctioning. They're asking about military capabilities instead of cultural exchange. The translators are working perfectly, Wu replied quietly. These humans are not following standard first contact behavior patterns. Throughout the meeting, the humans continued to surprise the Imperial delegation. They asked pointed questions about Imperial governance, species rights, and military presence. They showed more interest in the Empire's power structure than its technological wonders. As the meeting concluded, Wu felt unexpectedly defensive. We will continue discussions tomorrow. Please consider the generous opportunity the Empire offers. After the humans departed, Wu turned to his advisors. Contact. The Imperial Council immediately. First contact is not proceeding as expected. Security Officer Jin watched the human shuttle return to Earth. They weren't afraid of us at all, were they? No, Wu admitted. And that concerns me greatly. Admiral Minho paced the command deck of the Imperial warship. Inevitable victory, hidden in the shadow of Earth's moon. The diplomatic mission had been underway for 2 weeks, and each report from Ambassador Wu troubled him more than the last. Play the latest transmission again, he ordered. Ambassador Wu's face appeared on screen, his usual confidence replaced by poorly masked concern. Admiral, the humans continue to resist standard diplomatic protocols. They refuse protectorate, status, and demand equal partnership. Worse, they've begun asking detailed questions about our propulsion systems and energy weapons. Minho frowned. Most species were eager to accept Imperial protection in exchange for technology. The humans' resistance was unusual. Show me the latest intelligence reports, he commanded. Intelligence Director Seok stepped forward with a data tablet. Sir, our covert teams have infiltrated key human research facilities. Their scientists are working around the clock to understand our technology from the limited exposure they've had. How successful have they been? Seok hesitated. More successful than should be possible. They've already developed theoretical models of our communication systems that are disturbingly accurate. Impossible, Minho muttered. They must have stolen information. We've found no evidence of data breaches, Seok replied. They're simply observing and extrapolating with remarkable intuition. More concerning was the report on human military response. Rather than competing with each other as expected, Earth's nations were rapidly forming a unified defense strategy. Former enemies were sharing military technology and coordinating response plans. They're unifying, Minho noted grimly. This contradicts all historical data we gathered. Their history shows constant conflict between their territories. Yes, sir. It appears external threat overrides their internal divisions, Seok explained. And there's more. The screen showed humans in various countries performing military drills, specifically designed to counter the technologies they had glimpsed on the Imperial ships. These countermeasures, they shouldn't be able to develop them this quickly, Minho said. The humans have a saying, Admiral, Seok added. Necessity is the mother of invention. They innovate fastest when threatened. Minho made his decision. We need to assess their true capabilities and remind them of their place. Prepare a precision strike on their Mars outpost. Minimal casualties, but clear demonstration of power. The attack came swiftly. A small Imperial destroyer emerged from behind Phobos and fired a precision beam at the human Mars research station, disabling its communication array and power systems, but leaving the habitat modules intact. The response from Earth was immediate and unexpected. Admiral, the tactical officer shouted. Multiple missile launches detected from Earth. Primitive nuclear weapons? Minho asked dismissively. No, sir. They've modified their propulsion systems. The missiles are faster than anything in their previous arsenal. Minho watched in disbelief as the human missiles, while easily intercepted, displayed technology that hadn't existed 2 weeks earlier. How did they improve their propulsion systems so quickly? The answer came 3 days later, when a small Imperial supply ship reported being ambushed near the disabled Mars outpost. The humans had sent a rapid response team that managed to capture the supply vessel before it could escape. Commander Jin reported directly to Admiral Minho. Sir, the humans didn't just capture the ship. They've already begun taking it apart and studying the components. Our surveillance shows they're focusing on the drive system and shield generators. Have they made any progress? Minho asked, though he already feared the answer. Sir, they've already replicated basic shield technology. It's crude, but the principles are correct. Our model suggests they could have functioning prototypes within days. Minho slammed his fist on the console. That's impossible. It took the Zenturians a decade to reverse engineer Imperial shield technology after we gave them access. There's something else, sir, Commander Jin added. The humans sent a rescue mission for their Mars personnel. They diverted significant resources to retrieve just 17 people. They prioritized this rescue over securing additional Imperial technology. That makes no strategic sense, Minho said. No, sir, not by our standards. But it reveals something about their psychology. They value individual lives to an unusual degree. Intelligence Director Sayok appeared at Minho's side. Admiral, we've intercepted and decoded their internal communications. They're already discussing potential weaknesses in our systems. How could they know our weaknesses? They're guessing, sir. But some of their guesses are disturbingly accurate. Minho stood in silence, contemplating the implications. Every standard protocol for handling primitive species was failing with these humans. Send an encrypted priority message to the Imperial Council, he finally ordered. Classification. Extreme urgency. Message begins. First contact protocols have failed. Human adaptability exceeds all models. Recommend immediate re-evaluation of approach. They are learning too quickly. As the message was sent, Minho watched Earth on the main view screen. A small blue-green world that suddenly seemed much more dangerous than its appearance suggested. And send a message to Ambassador Wu, he added. He is to withdraw immediately. Diplomatic approach has failed. Emperor Li sat motionless on the Imperial throne as urgent reports flooded in from Earth. The Grand Chamber, usually filled with courtiers and petitioners, had been cleared except for his most trusted advisors. The mood was somber, the air thick with tension. The diplomatic team has withdrawn safely, reported Admiral Minho. Ambassador Wu is en route to Imperial space. And the humans? Asked the Emperor. They've salvaged our disabled supply ship. They're already incorporating our technology into their own systems at an unprecedented rate. The Emperor's face remained impassive, but his fingers tightened around the armrests of his throne. Show me. A hologram appeared in the center of the chamber. It displayed humans working feverishly in laboratories around their world, dismantling Imperial components and integrating them with Earth technology. Most alarming were the simulations running on human computers, accurately predicting how Imperial systems functioned. 17 days, whispered Science Minister Day in disbelief. They've replicated basic shield technology in just 17 days. Elder Counselor Tay shook his head. Just as the Sundered Ones did. They see technology not as magic to be worshipped but as puzzles to be solved. Intelligence Director Sayok stepped forward. My Emperor, there's more. The humans have launched their first ships with modified drives based on our technology. They're crude but functional. They've already sent vessels beyond their solar system. The Emperor closed his eyes briefly. How many? 5 ships traveling in different directions. We believe they're seeking other civilizations, possibly to form alliances. Or to warn others about us, added Director Hyun. Their cultural response to our withdrawal has been particularly concerning. The hologram shifted to show human news broadcasts, entertainment, and social communications. Humans everywhere were discussing the Imperial visit, but not with the fear or awe experienced by other species. Instead, there was determination, curiosity, and a strange excitement. They see us as a challenge, Yoon explained. Not as superior beings to be obeyed or feared, but as equals to be understood, negotiated with, or if necessary, fought. What options remain? The Emperor asked. Admiral, Minho stepped forward. We could launch a preemptive strike. With our current technological advantage, we could neutralize their major population centers before they advance further. The cost? Asked the Emperor. Significant. Their nuclear arsenal would ensure mutual destruction of our forces in their system. We would prevail, but losses would be high. Elder Tay spoke quietly. And if even a few humans survive, they would rebuild. They always do. Their history shows this pattern repeatedly. The Emperor stood, walking slowly around the hologram of Earth. What makes them so different, so dangerous? Science Minister Day consulted her notes. 3 key factors, my Emperor. First, their adaptability. They evolve their thinking faster than any species we've encountered. Second, their unity in the face of external threats. Disputes that have divided them for centuries were set aside within days of our arrival. Third, their philosophy. They fundamentally reject natural hierarchy. Reject hierarchy? The Emperor asked. Explain. Most species accept that superior technology indicates superior beings, Day continued. Humans do not. They believe all intelligent life has equal rights regardless of advancement. This makes them immune to our standard intimidation. Tactics. The Emperor returned to his throne, his decision made. Prepare an empire-wide alert, maximum priority. Within hours, the message was transmitted to every Imperial world, colony, and allied system. In his private chamber, the Emperor watched recordings from Earth. Human children played in parks. Scientists worked in laboratories. Soldiers trained for war. Artists created beautiful works, all continuing as if the greatest empire in known space hadn't just declared them a threat to galactic stability. Historian G entered quietly, bowing deeply. My Emperor, I've completed the preliminary assessment you requested. And your conclusion? He asked. The humans are unique in our records, she replied. They combine traits we've never seen together, the adaptability of the Pharans, the unity of the collective minds, the creativity of the artisans, all with the aggression of apex predators. Will they be a threat to the Empire? G hesitated before answering. My Emperor, I believe they already are, not because of their current capabilities, but because of what they represent. Their very existence challenges the philosophical foundation of imperial rule. The Emperor nodded slowly. Begin a new section in the Imperial Archives. Title it, The Human Challenge. As historian G left, Admiral Minho entered with fresh reports. My Emperor, we've detected more human ships leaving their system. They're heading toward the fringe worlds. Can we intercept them? Some, yes, but not all. The Emperor stared at the hologram of Earth. Then it has begun. The humans are coming, and the galaxy will never be the same. On Earth, in a secured laboratory, Dr. Rivera studied the Imperial language patterns while General Torres examined the salvaged shield generator. Neither knew they were making history. The first steps in humanity's unexpected journey to become the species that changed the galactic order forever.